I wanted to actually go back to a moment with Spence, and it was a very creepy moment, and I forget which book this is in because you also wrote a book about Henry Vinson,
Yes.
and there's a moment with Vincent and Craig Spence where they have an encounter, and Spence essentially reveals to Vincent who he is and what he does. Can you tell the story of that moment between Vincent and Spence?
Henry Vinson is a mortician from West Virginia and grew up in this very repressed Christian family.
Hmm.
And actually, I think his grandparents were like snake handlers. And
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So Henry went to Washington, D.C., and he would go out with party with some other gay morticians, and they would go to a bar that was like D.C.'s version or the gay version of the Chippendales. And he met a dancer, and they started having dinner together. And then the dancer told him that he was an escort, and he could make up to $5,000 a night as an escort. And then
Pretty good cash.
And this we're talking mid 80s now.
Yeah.
And the dancer said that he knew of a escort service that was up for sale because the guy was dying of AIDS. And Henry is a very shy, circumspect guy. If you knew Henry, this would be like the last thing that he would do. But
Yeah.
the impetuousness of youth, he decided to buy that escort service. And the thing about Henry is he's a brilliant guy. And he went through the yellow pages and he called up all the escort services. And most escort services are fly by night and they don't pay their phone bills. So Henry would say to them, when he came across a number that had been disconnected, he'd call up the phone company and he would say, I will pay the arrears on that phone number if you give me the number. So he ended up with like half the numbers in the yellow pages of escort services.
Wow. So he buys this company, acquires the escort numbers.
Yes.
So now he's in business. This, snake handler is now repping other snakes.
He was never a snake handler, but
coming from a family of snake handlers,
a very repressed.
He's continuing the family business in a different way.
So Henry started getting calls from Craig Spence, and we're talking mid '80s money. Spence was spending $20,000 to $25,000 a month on his escorts, and Spence would summon him. And Spence had summoned Henry, and Henry went to Spence's place. And there was Lawrence King and Craig Spence, two highly malignant individuals. And I think that there was a sugar cup filled with Coke. And King and Spence are talking about how much power they have, how much money they have. They're nouveau rich and blowhards.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, Spence seems to take an interest in Henry and asks Henry, where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to mortuary school? And Henry is like, since Spence has seismic narcissism. And Henry's thinking that he's witnessing the Red Sea parting because Spence had only cared about himself.
Yeah.
He'd never cared about Henry's, whatever Henry thought or felt, nothing. So Henry, and then he was asking him about the machinations of his escort service. And then at a certain point, Spence summons Henry, and he goes into a closet, and behind the closet is like this fake door, and they go into a room that's filled with monitors. And Epstein had this, and so did Diddy. And Spence hits a couple of buttons, and then all of a sudden there's Henry talking about running his escort service.
Yeah.
And Spence says to Henry, I blackmail people for a living and consider yourself blackmailed.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a legit movie James Bond villainous moment.
Yeah.
Some guy pulling back the curtain and going, yeah, I got you, bitch.
Yeah. That's poor Henry.
Yeah.